Shalom. I'm not going to put up my picture this time because, well, something very strange happened to me today. I am I I'm a victim of terrorism here in the U.S. and abroad. I don't know how many countries I'm a victim of terrorism in. Let's just put it that way. Possibly Israel, possibly Russia, possibly Ukraine, Canada, maybe Greenland, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, and Cuba. These are the places where I think, and somewhere in Latin America, maybe Mexico or another country like that one. Another Latin American country, I'm not really sure. But definitely there's one Latin American country where I am being hexed and I don't know why. The reason I know that is that when I pray, sometimes I pray and I say, wherever in the world, there is an altar raised against me, let it be cast down, and I can feel that something breaks. So I know that it's not just here in the United States; it's elsewhere too. So so as a victim of terrorism, I'm also a victim of electronic harassment. Um, the kind of harassment that I'm going through is very specific to things that people think are not real, that they are conspiracy, and I'm going to explain it to you. I've explained it before. I'm going to say it again. We're talking about directed energy. We're talking about voice to skull technology. We're talking about using uh, directed energy and microwave and radio wave weapons to connect people's bodies to machines, to connect them to other people. And this kind of thing can be done. If you take a look at the work of Elon Musk, out of not Tesla, but a company that he has called Neuralink, he's been using chips to experiment on the human brain, how to connect the brain to computers. And he has successfully already implanted people with these chips. And so it is to say, most probably he was one of the first people to get implanted, but maybe nobody knows that he is implanted. Um, or maybe some people in his company know, and it's not a non-disclosure thing. But most definitely, I know of one person on trial who was successfully implanted. This person can use his computer, for example, only using his mind. He has to use it. He has to use a certain program alongside his computer that comes with the chip, and that program helps him manipulate everything inside his computer. Um, and he can go on websites. All he has to do is use his mind. And that sounds like pretty groundbreaking technology. But the truth is that it's very dangerous technology. It's technology that affects the human brain, and by affecting the human brain, will affect the rest of a person's body. Um, a human being's creation was made not not to put electronics inside our body that would change our constitution. Our God is looking for people who are more like him than anything. So when you put a chip inside your brain to try to change the way that you are into more of a computerized person, um, God says, well, it's your body, it's your free will, but if that thing goes wrong, don't come back for me, you know? And people like Elon Musk won't care about that kind of stuff because he's not a Christian. He calls himself a cultural Christian, but you know what I think about that? I think you're trash. I think that you just want to say that Christianity can be anything that you say it is, and that's not how it goes. The way that Christianity, or that belief in the true God and in the true Messiah, go is as the Bible says, not as you say. because if you do things the way you say, then you're Satan, you know, and I can't trust you. So that's why I don't like Tesla. I don't like Elon Musk. I don't trust him. I think that he's a hazard to this world, um, more than most people have been. Um, and and well, he has shown us also that he has an affinity to Satan, you know. He has There's a picture circulating online where he went to a red carpet event and he was wearing this Baphomet suit. Baphomet is a demon of the Satanic Church, and the followers of the Satanic Church, the Lord rebuke you. Um, they they worship this thing. Um, A man called Michael Cassidy recently took the head of a Baphomet idol in Idaho because they had this exhibition, a religious freedom exhibition at the Capitol. And Mr. Cassidy, he was a congressman and also he was a Navy pilot. I think he was a retired Navy pilot. And he was also a Christian. And in his belief in seeing this thing, he got so angry in a moment that he took the head off Baphomet. Just like Michael is going to take the head off Satan at some point, in the very near future. I'm very expectant of that day, guys. Very expectant. Um, so so, as a victim of electronic harassment, I also get people hack my devices, hack my phone, they hack my life. And when I became a victim of directed energy and of satanic ritual abuse and witchcraft abuse and all of this uh, by groups of people who appear to be tied to terrorism, extremist groups who are seeking, some of them anarchism, some of them, their own kind of government, like for example the Taliban. Um, I am I am saying that I not only do my devices get hacked, they get hacked in the worst of ways, in the strangest of ways, in the most anomalous of ways. And as a person, when I was attacked by these weapons, these directed energy weapons, I was not just hit like these diplomats around the world, these US and Canadian diplomats around the world, and I think also UK diplomats have been attacked, in which they go on a mission to another country, a diplomatic mission to another country, and all of a sudden they receive a directed energy attack and they get a brain injury. And what was done to me was more invasive in terms of, well, I don't know if there's a chip inside my body, but I suspect that there might be. Um, and but more, what was done to me appears to have been something external, um, and and it could be both, because of the symptoms that I've had, both inner body symptoms and outer body symptoms. But I remember in North Carolina, I went to visit some family there, and I stayed there for a few weeks. And for 3 consecutive days, these perpetrators, they kept me in a room, telling me that I couldn't go out of the room, or making me feel like I couldn't go out of the room, or they could hurt my family, or you know hurting me was not such a big deal. I was afraid my family could get hurt. And I stayed inside the room for those 3 days, barely going out anywhere. Definitely not going out of the house because they were telling me I couldn't go out of the house. Um, and what I did was that I experienced these electronic symptoms over my body, very strange things. Like, for example, at one point, I felt like I was inside a centrifuge. If you don't know what a centrifuge is, it's a device that uses centrifugal force to subject a specimen to a specified constant force For example, they use it in laboratories to separate the components of a fluid. But also, it is used to create G-force um, or relative centrifugal force. So by accelerating, uh, by putting something or a sample of something or a person in a machine where they rotate at a specific RPM, uh, the as the acceleration rate uh, creates, the Lord rebuke the devil, creates G-force. And G-force is gravity force, basically. So what you feel is the pull of gravity on your body. And I felt in that moment as though I was inside a centrifuge. Um, like my body was being pulled down to the ground, like there was something super heavy on my body. Um, they did things to my body otherwise. They were training my mind to be manipulated by sound, by sound, and by certain commands of sound, and by light, by these not light, but by these images that were created through a light mechanism. And this light mechanism, they started hypnotizing me, so to speak, with my phone. They were using the flash on my phone, and maybe some invisible sound to hypnotize me for some time, and I didn't know it. And I did not know it until I saw the light on my flash uh, through a camera that I used to have inside my house. I had an infrared camera that picked up everything. And one day I was watching one of the surveillance videos, and I saw that my phone was on the ground and it was emitting a light like a strobing, patterned strobing from the flash. And I, I, it would go on and off. So I realized that probably I was being hypnotized by this thing. And I tried to tell the FBI, I tried to tell the IC3, but no one ever got back to me about my symptoms, about the things that I was seeing, about things that I was experiencing. Um, I can tell you that I also expressed to them that these things happened to me in North Carolina, where I believed that I was followed by terrorists, and that these terrorists they did these things to me um, in order to attempt to control my body, control my mind, control my emotions, and even specifically make me feel like I was some sort of demon who had to hurt angels. Um, I'm a Christian, I'm a believer in Christ, and I have gone through this tribulation for about 5 to 6 years. And this was done to me 2020, I believe, in North Carolina. Like I said, it wasn't. It wasn't in Puerto Rico. It wasn't in Cuba. It wasn't even in Orlando, where I lived. This was done to me in North Carolina. Mm. Uh, no. The Lord rebuked the Antichrist in the name of Yeshua. I deny the drink in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. These people are satanic, the people who did this to me. And they're searching, um, they're not just tied to satanic persons, but they're also tied to different kinds of people. And what I am is what's called a targeted individual. And there are groups of mercenaries and bounty hunters who are out there looking for targets to hurt, to experiment with, and to possibly even kill at some point. Um, some of these groups are counselors. They're tied to psychology, and they use torture mechanisms such as MK Ultra mechanisms to hurt their subjects. And I know that because it was told to me as I was being tortured once that I was part of. They said that I was part of the Monarch program. Um, Monarch was a subdivision uh, of uh, MK Ultra, and it was a specific project, apparently out of Monarch. Not a lot is known about this, but if you Google MK Ultra, it'll tell you. The Google will send you to different places where you can read specifically about Project MK Ultra. It's not something that's made up. Um, um, the Nazis actually began this form of torture, and it was because they were looking for the perfect truth serum to use against their enemy. And well, the CIA also experimented with these things, and they experimented on unwitting subjects, and they experimented on civilians, on CIA agents, on Army and Navy, um, and this was all documented. So people like Kathy O'Brien, for example, who are called conspiracy theorists, are actually talking the truth when they speak about things like the government has a mind control program and they're trying to fry our brains and to look inside our mind and try to connect brains and experimenting. They're experimenting on us, on certain people, uh, for purposes of mind control, and this is the kingdom of the Antichrist. And I'm going to tell you that all of those things are real. All of those things are true, and I'm telling you as of my own experience as a victim of terrorism, of internal terrorism, that might be tied to our government. I believe that that's the reason why I have not been helped, why the government um, has not reached out to me about my symptoms, about the things that I've seen. Moreover, about the things that I'm being told by these persons who are perpetrators. They told me once that they were going to make me a witness so that they could later kill me. So basically, what my perpetrators are looking for specifically is to make us into information machines that can know a lot of things about a lot of persons, and that way kill all of our angels, so to speak. And we're talking about both physically and spiritually. That is what I'm going through. Um, so what happens is that sometimes I've experienced, and this is one of the scariest things that's happened to me since I became a victim. On my phone, you know that your phone has text areas where you can text your friends out of the messaging app, out of Facebook Messenger, out of my goodness, um, McDonald's. McDonald's. Lord rebuke it. Um, anyway, don't don't listen to what I just said about McDonald's. Mac Nitwit or Mac Chickwit. Uh, might be something. But let's see. Um, So one of the scariest things that's happened to me is that I've been on my phone and or on my tablet, and all of a sudden I start thinking some things because I start falling under attack by these voices, sounds, sensations, um, and other kinds of physical symptoms like I start getting cold breath. I feel like there's someone else inside my body. Um, I actually start feeling like someone is trying to speak through my mouth or use my other body parts of mine. When I go to the bathroom, I feel invaded because when I excrete, I feel like there's another body, like there's an entity inside my body, and they're feeling what I'm doing, and it's very difficult. Sometimes I've become restrained in the anus area because of that. I was pooping and then I couldn't poop anymore because it was so difficult to have the thought that someone might be feeling what I was doing somewhere else. And um, I'm sorry, this is, I can't even close my eyes right now. There's a man called Eliezer Echevarria who used to be my friend. He was turned into a demon. He's trying to put the mark of the beast on me. I think he already has it. Um, I don't know what he did, but he accepted whatever these people were giving him as a king, as the kingdom of God. He thought that it was God speaking to him. He thought that all the feelings that he was feeling came from the Holy Spirit, and he started trying to fight the system that was hurting targets by using the same system. He just he fell, and now he's trying to do that to other people, and he thinks that he has the right to do it because he thinks it's God helping him. Um, but and a lot of people are going to undergo that when they become targets, and I say when and not if. Um, well, let me tell you what these things can do. So I was on my tablet. I was on International Drive. It was about 4 a.m. in the morning, and I didn't have a phone, but I had this device, and I'm sorry. I'm very sleepy, and also when I go into these battles, sometimes I fall asleep. Try to stay awake as much as you can. So it's difficult to talk about these things because you don't really know who's watching, who's listening, and if it's an enemy nation that has this kind of technology like Russia, which I know is involved in my perpetration. Um, I know that Russia's involved, and I know it by manner of prayer. Um, that's what happens to me. I pray and I know things. Ah, see, it works. It works for me too. Um, it works differently. So as I was there, I started feeling one of these attacks, and I started thinking about the fact that it does like I said, it doesn't matter what I think. I don't remember what I was thinking. Uh, I was thinking something along the lines of It doesn't matter what I say or think, they're going to hear it, right? And I was more talking to myself in that moment. And then all of a sudden, I looked down at the screen on my tablet, and there are some words on the tablet that say, "What are you going to do about it?" Someone had taken control of my device, someone who was monitoring me with electronics remotely, who could control my electronic device to the point of being able to write live on it. Uh, and not only that, they knew what was in my head. I want to tell you who used to do this that I knew. His name is Douglas William Ribeiro Guimarães. I'm going to open up here because I need you to look at my face now. I need you to know exactly what I'm doing. I need you to know exactly how I look, because some people can lie, and you don't tell, but some people know when people are not lying. And I need you to take a look at my face, because Douglas is a terrorist and his family is involved in terrorism. And I've told the FBI, and I don't know why they haven't done anything about kicking these people out of the country, but I'm doing my darndest to get them to have absolutely nothing. I'm doing the best I can so that they get into trouble that takes away their money, because a terrorist without money is basically worthless. Um, so and mostly, really, what I wish I could do is put them in jail, and they can be put in jail. We just need the people who are their victims to testify against them. That's all. And I'm already on that. I've already testified against them. I just need it to be done in a courtroom. Um, he used to be able to read my mind. And when I realized that he could read my mind, it was scary, because then nothing like that had ever happened to me before. And it wasn't the kind of thing like, oh, you finish each other's sentences kind of thing. No. Or you have a feeling about something that's going on with this person. You go like, are you okay? Because I feel like you might not be, okay. And it's not like that, because that's a spiritual thing. For anybody out there who doesn't know it, God connects us spiritually so that we may help one another in ways that we could be, that normally we wouldn't be able to be helped. Um, so when that happened, somebody was definitely reading my mind, and it might have been Douglas himself, but he's not the only person who can do that right now. My ex-boyfriend Juan Ramos can do that. And the reason I know that is that, well, let me tell you how I learned that Douglas could read my mind. We were having an argument, and during this argument, he was trying to apologize, or it was something about his ex-girlfriend, I think. And I said, in my head, I said he should be bowing down, like he should be kneeling down and asking me for forgiveness for this. And I remember that immediately Douglas sort of looked like he knew something, and he knelt down and started apologizing. He was like, please. And I'm like, I think I might have even squinted at that moment, like, there's something not right here. And the second time that it happened was some months later. Uh, Actually, it was the next year, 2019. And we were talking about the fact that I was going through all these really strange symptoms, and I saw that other people were going through things that seemed to be like what I was going through, like hearing things, um, like hearing other people's thoughts, maybe, and seeing things that were happening, or that were going to, or somewhere else. And I thought, people know that this is happening. They're not telling me. And I thought that a lot of people in my family might have been, you know, in on it. And so I was accusing Douglas of not telling me the truth. And we were having this discussion. And um, I don't really remember what the argument was about, but I do remember saying inside my head in that moment, well, at least all of this ordeal that I'm going through with Douglas, all of this bad stuff is has helped me to stop doing other bad things. Because I've looked to be more saintly. And sorry, I like I said, very sleepy and falling asleep. Not not a trend. Not not good. Um, I need to be careful because these things try to put words into your mouth, and you don't know the reason why they do that. It might be just because they're trying to fool with you, or because they have tried to possess you with a spirit, and that spirit wants to speak. Uh, wow, I'm sorry. Uh, but this was important for me to say because when that happened, uh, I was thinking to myself, oh, at least it helped me get away from certain bad things that I did, especially sexually. And I remember that Douglas all of a sudden came out and said, as if he were talking to someone else, yeah, at least it helped with that. Like, and he sounded like he was talking to someone who knew that he was psychologically torturing me. Moving on, when I started hearing Douglas in my head, oh guys, I'm really falling asleep here. Um, I'm so sorry. Um, and so it is that today, I'm just going to cut to the chase. Oh, I've also found text written on WhatsApp, on my WhatsApp, especially text that seems to be coded and that has the word hertz in it. To anybody who doesn't know what a hertz is a unit of measurement um, for energy, for electricity. Um, uh, it's specifically it measures frequency. So the frequency of something, um, and it's used in the measurement of electricity, especially electromagnetic waves. Um, and for example, a hertz is equivalent to one cycle or oscillation per second. Yeah. Uh, so when you are a victim of electronic harassment in terms of being a victim of directed energy, voice to skull technology, or extra low frequency wave, which all can be used um, in your perpetration. Okay. Falling asleep and seeing some visions specifically. Uh, what these people have done to me involve certain areas of my body, such as my lower abdomen. Um, Especially, it has to do with children. Uh, these people have the spirit of Herod in them. Nobody knows who Herod was. He used to kill children. He killed the firstborn of Israel, trying to find the Messiah. And again, okay. So here's what happened to me today, and it's happened to me in other occasions. I had these articles that I was waiting to purchase. You gotta be joking. I'm gonna go further with this, okay? Um, okay, so I had these items that I wanted to purchase, which I couldn't purchase just yet because I didn't have the money to do it. And these items were specifically related to protection from EMF, um, such as a Faraday bag for my phone, some silver gloves, Faraday mesh to make some curtains, and a canopy for my room. And well, I couldn't buy it, but I saved it for later. And what happened was I had some other things on my cart at Amazon. Just a few things. I had some verse cards. I had a mezuzah. I had two books and wall art depicting Jesus. And I went somewhere else to do something else online on another tab. And then when I came back to the Amazon tab, I saw that the gloves were put in my cart, the Faraday mesh, and some other items, uh, the Faraday bag, etc. And it reminded me of the time when my house was broken into back in 2019. The reason why I became homeless was that I knew that somebody had gotten into my house and they hadn't broken a sweat. Um, and it was the beginning of my perpetration during those days. Uh, Yeah. Right now, they're trying to tell me that they're doing the same thing to me now as they did to me in North Carolina. When I say they're trying to tell me, is I'm hearing a voice, and the voice I'm hearing is of Esmeralda Pereira. Um, this woman lives in North Carolina, or she lived in North Carolina when I lived there, when when I was staying there, and she was directly related by the perps to my perpetration. So that's what happened to me today. Again, it's not the first time that something like this happens to me. So I want to just open up a head. I just want to warn you that there's a terrorist attack taking place here in Florida, that it involves a man called Douglas William Ribeiro Guimaraes, his mother, Selma White Guimaraes, who is a real estate agent. Douglas used to work for Frontier. I don't know where he's working now. He probably got fired or something. And in they live in Orlando slash Kissimmee. Um, they might be using drones to persecute people and to hex them because they're magical. These people are magic. They do magic. They do the kind of magic that is satanic in nature. They deal with the dead. They deal with possession. They try to possess people. And they do things like longevity spells and beauty spells. Uh, yeah. So another thing that happened to me right now, and I realized it as I was um, looking at the card and talking to you guys. Two things was that I was being offered the Amazon card. Oh, now I can't see it because I moved it. But I was being offered the Amazon card. You know how they offer you the Amazon credit card? Well, um, it said it said apply for this card and pay only 144.75. I'm talking to you about the number 144 now. And this is not a lie. This is not conspiracy. This is real. Okay? All right. In Revelation 7 and 14, the Bible mentions the number 144,000 as individuals. They are a specific number of Jewish men who are male virgins. They're servants of God who have been sealed by God. They come from the 12 tribes of Israel. And it says that they are, um, they follow the Lamb, which is Jesus, wherever he goes. And it says that they will sing a new song. These are probably going to be martyrs. That's what I think. This will happen at the end of time. The reason I say that I think that they're martyrs is because in the in the Bible, when you hear the term "sing a new song" or "shiru shir chadash," the Lord rebuke Yanu Karav Shlomo. Uh, it's uh, it's uh, it's often interpreted as a call to praise God with enthusiasm and gratitude during acts of deliverance or when God is blessing you. And I like to study. I like the study of Hebrew words because God puts a lot of meaning to the things that He says, especially prophetically. And sometimes He says certain things and they mean something else. Psalm 96:1 says, "There's within my heart a melody." Oh, I'm sorry. No. Um, it says, "Oh, sing unto the Lord a new song. Sing unto the Lord all the earth." And it's like, why a new song? Like, why does the psalmist say a new song? And also, uh, uh, in Psalm 43, which is a David psalm, he says, "He has put a new song in my mouth." And Psalm 40 speaks about waiting patiently for the Lord, being delivered from a difficult situation, and then praising God with a new song. And that's exactly what a new song means. And I don't believe that when you read the book of Revelations, where it says that the 144,000 are going to sing a new song, I definitely don't think that God means anything else with that revelation, but that these people are going to be delivered from great tribulation, and um, they're probably going to be martyrs. That's what I think. Um, it says they are described as redeemed from the earth and as virgins. So these are virgin males. These are men who have not touched a woman ever in their lives. Um, and who knows who they are, you know? But most definitely they're Jewish men, um, because they come from the 12 tribes. Now, are these all Israelite men? Possibly not. Native Israelites. Maybe native Israelites, but possibly not. Coming from the 12 tribes of Israel does not mean directly that you are an Israelite who was born in Israel. Um, it possibly means that you are an Israelite by heritage. So you could be a Muslim. Well, you could be an Arab, not a Muslim. You could be an Arab. You could be Costa Rican. You could be Jamaican. You could live in Greenland. Or you could be Puerto Rican. And you could be a part of, of this group of 144,000 people, men. Now, there are different interpretations of this passage or these passages. Some people interpret it as a symbolic number that represents all believers, both Jewish and Gentile, who are faithful to God. Um, and because they are described as virgins, they may be interpreted figuratively as, having spiritual purity and faithfulness to God. Um, some people think that they mean the church as a whole during the end of times and how they have to behave during the end of times. But see, the reason why I know that that's not true is because there's very specific wording in this passage where it speaks about them being virgins. It doesn't say that they're just virgins. It says that they're virgin males, and these uh, these are all men who are going to follow the Lamb. Um, and God is going to redeem them from great tribulation. I know firsthand what it's like to have a new song. I praise the Lord because He's good. Um, these 144,000 might not be singing alone. They could be alive right now, going through the tribulation, through the great tribulation, which I believe already began. The things I'm seeing just don't help me believe anything else. I think that the tribulation already began. It just started with a few people, and it's kind of hidden right now from broader view. But I think it started, and I think it has started through through the sealing of the Lord's people who are going to be sealed. And it's like, well, if the angels that were going to be here by the time, well, anyway, uh, hold on. I have to scratch. There are going to be angels speaking to certain people, right? And helping them to get back up during the end times. This is what a revival is called. Praise be the Lord. During a revival, uh, people who are not saved are saved. This is what happened when Jesus was here over 2,000 years ago. People were being raised from the dead, basically. They were being forgiven for their sins. They were being baptized into the new covenant. And that new covenant was under Yeshua Jesus. I have somebody trying to convince me that the name of Jesus is Michael again. And it's not. His name is Yeshua Jesus. And the archangel Michael is an angel. Two different entities. Okay, don't be confused because there is an actual guy out there calling himself Michael, and he's no good. Like he's not a good guy. I think that he might be the false prophet. Um, he could be the Antichrist himself. I'm not really sure. So the fact that I saw the number 144 when all of this is happening, and exactly as I was making this video, just makes me want to tell you that we are in Armageddon. If you don't know what Armageddon is, I'm going to tell you. Uh, Armageddon in religious context refers to the prophesied side of a final, decisive battle between good and evil, often associated with the end of the world. It is featured in the book of Revelation in the New Testament, or the Brit Hadashah. I renounce Yanu Karav Shlomo in the name of Yeshua and all other false messiahs. This term is also used more broadly to describe whatever. That's it. That's what Armageddon is. Okay. Uh, in the book of Revelation, Armageddon is portrayed as the location where this great battle will take place, and many many armies from around the world are going to gather there. And this is a culmination of the cosmic battle, conflict between God and Satan, and the final showdown before the end of history as we know it. And while some people, and this is important for you to know, please take this into consideration because this is what's happening, and that's why we're not noticing that we're at war. While some interpret Armageddon as a literal place, many see it as a symbolic representation. I'm asking you who you are. If you're not here in the name of Christ, leave. Many see it as a symbolic representation of a final conflict, a climactic clash of forces. It could refer to a specific location, possibly the ancient city of Megiddo, or a broader symbolic battleground for spiritual forces. Um, that's what's happening right now. Okay? I'm going to read that again. While some interpret Armageddon as a literal place, and there is such a place as is called Megiddo, many see it as a symbolic representation of a final conflict, a climactic clash of forces. It could refer to a specific location or a broader symbolic battleground for spiritual forces. That's what's happening. There is a spiritual battle taking place right now across the universe, not across the globe of Earth, across the universe. The Battle of Armageddon has begun. I can tell you for certain, certain of all certainties, that Obama opened a floodgate or opened a gate. He opened a door to Satan here in the United States of America and across the world that had uh, Armageddon written over it. He did it for the Battle of Armageddon. It was one of Satan's strategies to get into power globally. Um, and that's not to say that he wasn't already in a seat of power, but he did something that hadn't been done in a very long time with this much power. And sometimes I wonder if that's, the okay, in the book of Revelations, the first beast of the apocalypse is described as a dragon with many heads, and it has seven heads. And one of those heads they all have blasphemous names. The Bible doesn't say all the blasphemous names of this beast, but it does say that one of those heads had been mortally wounded, but it has survived the mortal wound. And sometimes I wonder if it wasn't same sex marriage and the acceptance of homosexuality worldwide, or that power it took, because it took power all over the world. How many countries right now accept LGBTQ uh, or global LGBTQ rights? um, Let me see if this article talks about that. uh, okay, so countries like Canada, Australia, New Zealand, many Western European countries like Iceland, Norway, the Netherlands, Spain, uh, Denmark, Sweden, Belgium, and the UK. Um, Uruguay, Malta, Argentina. Trying to see if I'm missing anything here. There are probably, let me see, Finland, Iceland, Germany, Taiwan, South Africa, France, Ireland, Brazil. I don't know if I said Switzerland, Thailand, and Luxembourg. Those are uh, those are some of them. But here, the Williams Institute, uh, UCLA, says that right now there is social acceptance of LGBT people in 175 countries and locations around the world. That's disgusting. Uh, it says that 56 countries have experienced an increase in acceptance since 1981. That was the year I was born, unfortunately. What a thing to see, too, right? Um, or 1980. Um, in 2020, Iceland, Norway, and the Netherlands, Sweden, and Canada were the most accepting countries. Uh, and then Oceania. I don't know how to say it. Peru, Mozambique, Barbados, and Kitts, uh, Nevis, and Palestine are some places that have seen very little change. But I think I told you all of them Nepal, also Puerto Rico, Andorra, the United States, Italy, uh, Portugal, Cape Verde, Chile, uh, Hong Kong, Costa Rica, Slovenia, Colombia, Philippines, Czech Republic, Singapore, Cuba. I'm pretty sure that it's not very high acceptance, but or in Israel, Northern Cyprus, Venezuela, Ecuador, Greece, Mauritius, India. I'm sure it's not very high there either. Panama, Japan. Uh, oh wow, these are ranks anyway. Uh, they rank by acceptance score. Um, and uh, and so a floodgate was open, but more importantly, a gate was open, not a floodgate, a gate. I'm talking about a door. When we talk about gates in heaven, we're talking about doors. We're talking about entryways. We are talking about places have that God closes, that only He can open and close. But if we sin, God might not protect us that much, and He might allow Satan to open that gate. Um, I remember once. Sometimes I say things out of anxiety that I don't understand. When I was with Douglas, I did a lot of things that I shouldn't have done. But one time I remember he asked me why I wanted to be with him if things were not going so well between us. And I remember that I was very anxious and I was crying and I didn't know what I was saying. And I said, because you are the gate. And right after I said it, I realized that what I wanted to say was that he was very important in my, that I felt like he was a very important person in my emotional, in my emotional house, like he was a catalyst for something, like he was the key to something. But the word that I used that came out of me was gate. It didn't come out of my heart, didn't come out of my soul. It came out of a place that I did not know that I could speak out of and that I had been speaking out of for a long time because we all speak through it at some point, possibly. And I didn't realize at that time that I was speaking face to a demon because that's what Douglas, my ex boyfriend, was. He was a demon. Um, he was a satanic spirit. He was a fallen angel. And sometimes he acted like he was an actual angel, like he was Jesus. And sometimes he gave me a hug and I felt a warmth like he was Jesus, but he wasn't. He was Satan. He was Satan deceiving me. And I would notice it the next moment when all of a sudden his semblance just changed and the facade that he was putting on, that lie, um, it it came to show. He suddenly changed. He became this monster, uh, emotionally, spiritually, and the way that he spoke like somebody who was devious, who was a liar and a cheater, who was Satan basically. Um, and that's who my ex-boyfriend was. And I believe that Douglas is a part of the things that are happening in the world now during the time of Armageddon, and that the devil is using him to, to try to get the elect. Um, And he's not the only one in his family that the devil is using that way. Of course, if I tell that to an FBI agent, as I sort of tried to do, they're not going to believe you, you know. But you can't. It's the truth. It's the truth. Um, so be ready because there are more things coming, and those things are going to affect us all, not just some people. Um, God has a calling for every person. Okay, so right off the bat, I'm going to tell you don't invest on crypto. Just don't. Stop searching for Bitcoin online. Just don't do it anymore. Um, don't use any crypto that you have. Forget Bitcoin altogether. I sense that this is going to be a lot of trouble in the coming years. And when I say the coming years, I mean during the days of the Antichrist. Um, just don't forget about your Bitcoin. Let it go. Um, well, uh, where was that? Yeah, we're standing in front of each other at the end of time. Hello, I. My name is Miriam, and so there are two things that God is asking us to do right now. One of them is to become completely righteous. He's asking us to cleanse ourselves. And there are some people that can't be cleansed anymore. One of the revelations I had in the last 5 to 6 years is that God has already sealed, that those who are going to be sealed are already sealed. That means that God has already made his choice. And I'm so sleepy. Uh, Again, don't bother making any more investments. Just enjoy the money you have now. Take your money out of retirement. You might not need it. You know, I obviously can't quite tell you that. But I don't know what I just said. I'm gonna go to sleep, guys. Um, be ready. This has only just started. Do you want to know the events that are going to take place from now on? Global war, World War III. That's going to happen. Um, all right, that's it. Shalom.